Welcome. It's 6 o'clock on Sunday, March the 30th, and this is 5.
Hello, and welcome to the Ident Review, the show where we have a good look and chat about the various television idents that we have come to know and love over the years. And for this instalment, we'll be taking a look at a selection of idents used by Channel 5, not long after its launch in 1997. On Sunday, the 30th of March 1997, Channel 5 was officially launched on UK terrestrial television, becoming the 5th channel to do so. And like any new TV channel, a series of idents accompanied it, playing between programmes and advertisement breaks to try and showcase the flavour of the channel, what it was all about, and just what made it different from its competitors. So for today, let's have a look at a selection of these inaugural idents. To my knowledge, they don't have any specific names for each one, so we're going to go with variant followed by a letter. First up, we have variant A.
Classic cult drama now as we head south of the equator for another exciting story from prisoner cell block H.
Definitely a way to stand out from your competition. So we see a bunch of lights and pipework flicker and flash until we settle on the dimly lit face of a woman. As she smiles for the camera, the main 5 logo is shone across her face. So even though this is quite abstract in its design and appearance, the logo provides reassurance that yes, you are watching Channel 5. The whispered 5 is something that's going to crop up a lot, and personally I'm not a fan. For me it comes across as being a bit too sensual and suggestive, and yes, I know Channel 5 has its share of more adult programming tastes, but it still feels a bit unnerving. Let's move on to variant B, shall we?
Another round of our punishing quiz 100% soon. First, more drama on the inside.
This, I believe, is a much nicer ident. We see items more in keeping with nature, such as a leaf, some raindrops, and some gorgeous pink flowers that make up the screen during the bulk of the continuity announcer's speech. I really do think this is a more creative way of showing off your channel, but of course, what ruins it in a way? The whispered 5. Why did they think this was a good idea? Anyway, frustration aside, let's jump forward to variant C.
And now, the moment you've been waiting for. Drama and suspense, not to mention flares, polyester and gorgeous boiler suits. It can only be Prisoner.
One of the more fondly remembered of Channel 5's original lineup. It uses some of the pipe design we saw in variant A, but I think what helps this one stand out more is the final resting image. The spinning 5 within the spinning shapes is quite the striking image. The gold tone matches well with the background, and it reminds me of one of those wind chimes you can hang in the open. Overall, a very nice final design. The whispered 5 is present, but thankfully its usage is kept to the absolute minimum. Next up, we have variant D.
Another 100 questions will be fired off at 5:30. But first, the prison show that's never passed its sell-by date. Sell-by date, get it? Oh, please yourselves.
Very bad jokes aside, I believe that this is one of Channel 5's best idents from its 1997 lineup. We get a brief glimpse of the coloured bars shown in Channel 5's launch, adding a sort of continuity from launch to the present. And with the final logo being the main focus, we're treated to a lovely array of fast-changing colours, symbolising the channel's diversity and the style of programmes it aims to show. Yes, the whispered 5 is present, again, but if we push that aside, this is a really nice design overall. Moving swiftly onwards, here is variant E.
5 News Early is just 30 minutes away. First, 3 more hermetically sealed contestants battle it out as a disembodied voice fires the questions in 100%. Not a bit like blankety blank, is it?
This one, like variant B, uses elements of nature to showcase itself. I particularly love the final resting image of the raindrops splashing through the 5 logo, and as a result we're left with a very clear channel identity, as well as a lovely blue background that feels both relaxing and soothing to watch. Another strong ident that builds upon nature elements, but however, you could argue something even more creative could have been injected into this to make it something truly special. Get yourselves ready, it's variant F.
Well now, prisoner, and Erica might look like butter wouldn't melt, but I wouldn't take her on in a poker game.
So this one actually goes to some lengths to try and present some sort of story. We see a lift descend to, where else, floor 5, and a man standing in a very brightly coloured room shows us a window to, I guess what 5 is about? Lots of bright colours, groovy music, trying to say that this is a varied channel that has a lot of fun within it. In my mind, this is the epitome of what people thought was cool and attractive to younger audiences in the 1990s. You know, bright colours, lots of upbeat music, and whether or not they were successful, I'll leave that for you all to decide. Now we move on to variant G.
Play along with 100% at 5:30. First, things don't go right down at the building site.
There's a lot of lights in this one. The camera moves so fast, it's often sometimes hard to tell just what is going on. We see the 5 logo take shape via a variety of light combinations, and once again we have a woman roaming about trying to spot the 5 in its various locations. This one is a bit dull for me, it's too quick and it jumps all over the place and there's no real direction to it. It's definitely not one of the more memorable ones in my view. Let's take a look instead at variant H.
California's top cops cut it again at 4:35 after sport.
Finally, human characters we can clearly see. So here we have a sharply dressed man in a train station. We do see other people walking here and there as well, but for the most part it seems to be about this man and his killer dance moves. We once more see the coloured bars that made up the look for Channel 5's launch, and it's nice to see them as part of the resting image towards the end of the clip. This one isn't bad per se, I just wish it had more elements of story. Or either we focus completely on this guy dancing, or we provide some reasoning as to why and what these other characters are doing, as opposed to being inserted seemingly for the sake of it. And last but not least, let's have a look at variant I.
Meet the woman who thought that the pyramids of Croydon were one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. She wouldn't score 100%.
It's a shame that for our last ident of the day, it almost seems like a mashup of the earlier nature-based variants that we looked at. We see the same raindrop, the same sort of flowers, and overall it doesn't attempt to do much new with the material, apart from rearrange them in a different running order. They definitely could have created something new here, or even just repurposed the existing material in a different way if this was a money-saving attempt. Definitely not one worth space in the memory. And after all that, we've come to the end. The 1997 set of Channel 5 idents may not have been the most dynamic or memorable overall, but they still serve as an important piece of history, as each of these attempted to communicate to millions of British viewers just what Channel 5 was all about. And the channel does still exist today, so it must have done something, right? So that indeed is all, but before we go, the final words from our broadcaster.
You to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tunes and toy movies free. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the TV that you've ever wanted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who's scared? Spice Girls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That was all this week for this instalment of the Ident Review. I hope you all enjoyed watching it, and next week we will be going back to BBC One. However, there seems to be an early wave of Christmas in the air. Until then, we have plenty of programmes to keep you company, including the DVD haul, the Now Review, and the Sunday catch-up. So, until the next time, have a good week, and we hope that you'll join us again soon. Good night.